Damon glanced at Talia to confirm that she didn't react when the man called him Mr. Blake, and Damon took that as her approval. Yep, she definitely didn't mind using his last name. There existed a time when werewolves didn't have last names. Even in modern times, they identified themselves by the first name, pack they belonged to, and their position. However, since they coexisted with humans, each werewolf family had a surname. It helped them blend in. When Travis set up Talia's appointment with the nutritionist, he asked Damon what surname to use because Talia told him that she didn't have one when he wrote down her personal information. Actually, the lack of Talia's background went beyond just her last name, and it told Travis how neglected she seemed. Talia Blake, Damon responded to Travis after a second of silence. It sounded right. Blake? Are you sure? Travis asked, knowing that no one would dare to use Alpha's last name lightly. Does that represent a problem? No, not a problem. Travis quickly denied it. Who represented he to question his Alpha? Back to the present. It seems nice to see you here, but I hope it doesn't represent anything serious. The man spoke excitedly while extending his hand toward Damon for a handshake, and the friendly smile told Talia that the man knew Damon from before. Dr. Jones expects you. Damon stood up and shook hands with the man before turning to check on Talia, who gingerly stood behind him. Mr. Mendez, this represents Talia. The appointment belongs to her. I wonder if it won't create a problem if I come in with her. Not a problem, Mr. Blake. Please, come this way. Talia walked after Damon as they made their way through the hallway, and she thought how it seemed strange that these people called him Mr. Blake. So far, everyone had called him Alpha or Alpha Damon, but humans didn't know about the werewolf hierarchy and how scary Alpha Damon could seem. Talia didn't think that Blake fit him. It seemed too ordinary, and she also heard it not long ago. Mr. Blake. Blake. Talia repeated silently while jogging her memory, and her face fell when she realized that only a few minutes ago she heard that last name, but it tied to her. Why did Damon say that her name represented Talia Blake? Did that represent his way of joking? Talia had so many questions, but she knew that this didn't represent the right place or time to voice them, so she kept quiet. Actually, there existed no good time to ask those questions, period. The best thing involved not having any connection with Alpha Damon. The further she stayed from him, the better. She already had so many things to deal with, and people misunderstanding her relationship with Alpha Damon shouldn't get added to that pile. Talia told herself not to panic. Talia Blake just represented a temporary thing in order for her to have this appointment in the human hospital. And she would never, ever, ever, ever use it again. A short nurse with a red pixie cut and big green eyes made Talia stand on the scale, and she took her height and weight before giving questionnaires for Talia to fill and telling them to sit and wait for the doctor to come. Talia noticed that this nurse also stole glances at Damon. Damon's incomprehensible gaze glued to Talia, and she wished that he looked away before people started getting funny ideas. Dr. Jones represented a middle-aged woman whose brown hair lifted into a loose bun, and her age didn't stop her from eyeing Damon in a way no doctor should look at a patient. Actually, Damon didn't represent a patient, but he accompanied one, and Dr. Jones's behavior didn't seem professional. Damon and Talia sat on chairs, and a desk separated them from Dr. Jones. The woman asked questions, and Talia responded, but Talia doubted that the woman listened to a word Talia said because her eyes didn't leave Damon. After some time, Dr. Jones pushed into Talia's hands brochures about balanced meals that included examples of portions for grains, proteins, vegetables, fruits, oils, and also recommendations for water intake. With just one glance, Talia confirmed that this represented generic information she could get online. Since Maya gave her the tablet, Talia spent a lot of time on the internet, and she looked up malnutrition and balanced meals that Travis mentioned, and nothing that Dr. Jones said seemed new. Talia felt exasperated. Why did she even come here? She could have stayed in her room and sleep instead of waking up and getting ready while experiencing stress due to Alpha Damon's presence. And she also felt concerned that Alpha Damon would accuse her of wasting his time. Wait, didn't he say to Casey that he had something to do in the town? But then, why did he come with her to this appointment? Talia glanced at Alpha Damon and met his gaze directed at her. "Do you have any questions for Dr. Jones?" Damon asked Talia. Dr. Jones didn't ask any questions. She just talked like she had all the answers. Talia's experience with doctors included that they seemed warm and kind and attentive, and Dr. Jones seemed none of that. But Talia knew that Damon brought her here and that he represented a donor, and that she should feel grateful for everything instead of complaining. "No," Talia responded in a small voice. Of course, Damon knew she lied. Damon spent the last decade in various meetings and situations where he needed to read people, and he seemed quite good at it. He didn't miss Dr. Jones' flirty behavior, and as much as he wished that Talia felt jealous, he could see that didn't represent the case. Talia's defeated expression gave him heartache, and he had an urge to fix it. "Dr. Jones, it seems that my wife doesn't feel happy with the level of service you provided." Talia's eyes widened. Did he say wife? Wife? But it just represented a show for the human hospital, right? Right? Without waiting for Talia to respond, Damon's arm moved behind Talia and his hand landed on her shoulder. "Excuse me," Dr. Jones spoke in a shaky voice. "Did I do something to displease you?" "You know very well what you did and what you didn't do, Dr. Jones." Damon narrowed his eyes at the doctor. "Are you aware of the donations my Blake family contributed to this hospital?" The middle-aged woman looked visibly flustered while her eyes nervously moved from Talia to Damon. She wondered if she read the situation wrongly. Dr. Jones didn't know what represented the relationship between Damon and Talia, but that didn't mean anything. She smiled at Damon, and he smiled back, and it took from there. He paid attention to what she said and responded favorably to her nonverbal clues, so she assumed that she had a chance. He looked handsome and rich, and on top of that, he represented a donor to this hospital. Everyone thought that she seemed well-to-do because people called her Dr. Jones. But she got the job as nutritionist based on her father knowing one of the big shots in the hospital, and her degree, which she earned after a 6-month-long course. The truth represented that regular nurses earned more than her, and that doctor only represented a title she had because she worked in the hospital. But why did he seem so upset? Dr. Jones thought that things went well, but now Damon looked at her darkly and asked her if she seemed aware that he represented a donor. Yes. Of course I know, Mr. Blake."
Wait, that's not the end. You've just had a free taste. Now get the full story on the Pocket FM app, link in description. Check out our next video and playlist, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.